about your character? So how does she feel about that job? She feels like she's stuck, maybe? Okay, talk to your partner about that. Hey, talk to Hey, who's your partner?
She's trying to tell him what's going to happen if you don't go to school because she might have been a duplicate response. And I think she does because that's not a good job. That's what she got. She was making a lot of money for it.
I know, it was my last thing that I wrote. I just finished it.
Okay, readers, eyes this way. Sometimes as readers we build these theories or these ideas we have about characters, and we usually have these theories or these ideas when we first read about a character, when they're first introduced to us. And then the more we read on, sometimes those ideas change. We have to revise that thinking. Okay? In just a second, you may be able to revise your thinking about Willie Mae, because I'm going to read a little bit more in this book and ask you to rethink what you're thinking about her as a character. Share out really quickly what you said, Emily, about Willie Mae.
She's not afraid to stand up for herself because she will help people by teaching.
Okay. What else? Kennedy?
She's not very good.
She's not graceful, okay? Ashton?
She is kind of nice because she's giving him advice and
She's giving him advice. Good. Life advice, right? Not just advice about what to do right now, but it's going to help him. Yeah. Last one, Michael?
That she's either very stubborn or very tenacious.
Okay. Big words. I'm going to challenge you, Michael, to see if you have to revise that theory in just a second. Okay? Let's read on. Willie Mae opened her eyes and looked over the top of her glasses at Rob's legs. She said after a minute. How long have you had that? About 6 months, said Rob. I can tell you how to cure that, said Willie Mae, pointing with her cigarette at his legs. I can tell you right now. You don't need to go to a doctor. Huh? Said Rob. He stopped chewing his gum and held his breath. What if Willie Mae healed him and then he had to go back to school? Sadness, said Willie Mae, closing her eyes and nodding her head. You keeping all that sadness down low in your legs. You're not letting it get up to your heart where it belongs. You gotta let that sadness rise up. Oh, said Rob. He let out his breath. He was relieved. Willie Mae was wrong. She couldn't cure him. The principal thinks it's contagious, he said. Man ain't got no sense, Willie Mae said. He's got lots of certificates, Rob offered. They're all framed and hung on his wall. Eyes this way, readers. I bet he ain't got no certificate for sense, though, said Willie Mae darkly. She rose up out of her chair and stretched. I gotta get some rooms cleaned. You ain't gonna forget what I told you about them legs, are you? No, ma'am, said Rob. What did I tell you then, she said, towering over him. Willie Mae was tall, the tallest person Rob had ever seen. To let the sadness rise, Rob said. He repeated the words as if they were part of a poem. He gave them a certain rhythm, the way Willie Mae had said them. That's right, said Willie Mae. You've got to let the sadness rise on up. Turn and talk. Turn and talk about Willie Mae.
She's giving really good advice. Giving him really good advice about what to do. And he's sort of, debating that she really wants to do what she said and see if they did it. And she might be telling a lie because you never know. To me, she's telling us a lie to me.
Michael, did you share what
That's
you
the
read?
type of person that I think she is. Really tall. I think she needs to go to church too.
What do you think about her? statement where she says she's not really afraid to speak up.
Oh, remember that part? I think I know the manager's name. It started with the D.
Do you think she's not frightened? Kanan, do you think she's not frightened? Hey, what would she have done if she had not met Rob and wasn't able to give him advice? How would you think about her then as a character? Just plain old Willie Mae, and not that somebody who was bold and taking up for someone. Good. All right. Readers, I want to talk to you just a little bit about what you're doing as readers. You're building a theory about that character. And everything we read that has a character and characters interacting with each other, the way they act and the way they speak, eyes this way, the way they act and the way they speak kind of gives you a window to figure out what is this character about. What is it, why is she acting the way she's acting? Why is she talking the way she's talking? And how does that help me understand what's going on in the story? So today and every day after this, when you read, you should be developing those theories about characters. Now let's talk really quickly about some of the ways that we did that. Let's look at this chart. That's what we're talking about now, Richard. We've noticed the actions that a person has made, right? She plopped down in the chair, and she's pointing at his legs with her cigarette, talking and giving advice. So we allow that to be a window into that person. Eyes this way. We also notice the actions that don't move the plot, but they reveal a lot about the character. Our story really hasn't moved along a lot. But we have learned something about Willie Mae that helps us learn something about Rob, too. Because they're opposite characters, aren't they, Richard? Willie Mae is very opposite from Rob. And that's really helping us have a window into seeing Rob as a character as well. We realize their actions are choices a person makes. She could have acted differently. She could have just walked on in, said good morning, kept walking, and kept going. But it really would not have helped us understand Rob's character had she just done that. And she really would have had no place in the story had she just walked in, said good morning, and kept walking. Right? We also notice the patterns of actions and think, why did the author have the character do this? Why is this author having the character always give advice to Rob? Okay? Those aren't questions I want you to answer. I'm just posing those questions. Then if the actions don't seem to reveal anything, we have to push harder to find something significant and suggest maybe this is why Willie Mae is behaving this way.
She's acting like 16 because 16 was shy on the bus. Now she's eating.
So you're seeing a connection between the two characters.
I think the two were like in the same family. It will be not good.
Dimitri, I think you're onto something. You also come up with an idea and you think about that idea. This could be important because it could be important that Sistine is a lot like Willie Mae, and both of these characters could be helping Rob to come to some understanding in the book, right?
Yes,
I think you're onto something there, Dimitri. And then at the end, we need to use what we know about characters and those windows that we've used to see that character and have those grand conversations about it. But as a partner, you also need to say, but what if she had done this? Or maybe she was thinking about it this way. Eyes this way, readers. Eyes this way. Pins down and eyes this way. Today, as readers, when you go off to read, I want you looking for those moments where it's given you a window into figuring out your characters. You all shared with us this morning what you were reading and who your main characters were. Look at their actions and how they behave and what that reveals about them as a character. You should jot those down in your reader's notebook, your reader's journal, and be ready to share those in grand conversations at the end of reading workshop today. Okay? Please log your reading as you sit here. Open your text and start reading. I'll tap you on the shoulder when it's time for you to leave the rug and you're settled into your reading. As I tap you on the shoulder, you can choose a new work start. So you should be logging quickly and settling into